Got the next round. We got Catherine on and Steve Greenberg. Steve, you're
All right,
muted, just
Catherine
so you know, you can
and
unmute yourself.
Steve, thank you guys for coming. We have Get Press now. Chris is going to be on with us. Just to give you guys a little bit of an intro, everyone who's joining us for this Get Press topic. Steve Greenberg is a contributor to the Today's Show, and also the YouTube rock star of What the Heck Is That? Which I've seen a few of your videos and they're absolutely awesome. Love them. And Catherine is amazing because she actually, and I have all of your stuff here and I'm trying to look at my notes here, but she's a TV
Too
host.
much.
So I know you have so much. I'm sorry. I don't even know what to start with. But
She's a firecracker. Let's start there.
There we go.
17 years in-house PR at Home Depot, so I know my products, right?
Yeah, you work for Home Depot. You're a TV host. You're on many networks. You promote products, and I know that you can add to the additional story with that. But you have so many things to list off that I didn't know where to start. So, but I'm happy to be meeting you today.
I know, it's what a great panel. I mean, I've been listening in and I mean, such great advice, but happy to be here. Yeah, I was in-house PR for Home Depot for 17 years, so I know products. I do boutique PR services. I'm kind of behind the scenes. I talk to press. I'm in front of the camera like Steve, Good Morning America, Inside Edition. I go on local TV stations like Steve as well. So, hey, you got the two people that know press. Good.
You guys,
we're here with UIA, the best, right? So
you guys
thank
are
you
awesome.
so much for having us.
Catherine, you sold me. I watched your your last pet pitch, and you sold me on the wellness core pet food. For my
amazing. I wanted it for myself. I'm like, God, they make this amazing pet food.
I'm just going to give you a little.
I go to trade shows as well, and I stock good products.
I'm going to give you some inside stuff on Catherine.
But yeah, I mean, some of these products. Well, thank you. Yes, I genuinely love the products I talk about. I try to test them beforehand. So hopefully it sounds like that comes across, which is great.
It does. It definitely does. Yeah.
Amy Jo, she can sell anything. And a little background history, a little secret that maybe not a lot of people know about Catherine. I've actually seen her get into like a club in Vegas when we didn't have tickets. I just saw her talk her way right in. So like, I just said, hey, just chill out. Give her 10 minutes. We'll be in. Just relax. So
that's a great skill to have.
Power of persuasion is a good thing. What can I
say? All right, well, let's start talking. Amy Jo, let's talk a little bit about press. Like, how does someone get press? They have a great product. Steve does a lot of stuff on the Today Show, right? So how do we? Steve has like a format he uses. So let's start with Steve a little bit. He has a format he uses that he wants you to send to him. It's really easy. It's simple, so it's not confusing to anybody reading it. So I have a product, Steve. I want to get it on a Today Show. You have a segment. How do I do it?
So you have to keep in mind that, and thank you very much for having me here. I'm excited to be part of this. I also listened to the last panel, and it was fabulous. Some great advice. So there's a different way. First, talking specifically about me. I have my own little niche of stuff. But even if we're not talking about me, just getting on your local news station, your local paper, your local, you should first think local first before you think global. So if you're in Cleveland and you're an inventor, there's a ton of media in Cleveland or Columbus, Ohio, or almost everywhere on the planet. You should focus on that, watch those shows, and then go after the right niche that would fit your segment. But speaking about the Today Show, for example, I have a very narrow niche on the Today Show. They want gadgets under $100, and they give me a topic. It could be entertaining for the holidays, or it could be something for grandpa for the holidays, or dads and grads, or whatever the topic is. And I always put it out on social media. So if you follow me on Twitter or LinkedIn or Facebook, you'll see what the topic is. Then I put together a list of usually about 40 products that have come in that I like. So I've eliminated some, narrow it down to 40, give it to the producers, and they pick the 6 to 8 products they think are a good fit for the Today Show viewer. And they have a very strong mindset, just like HSN knows who that viewer is, the Today Show knows their viewer very well. And they know what she, I'm calling her she because that's what they refer to her as. what they think she's all about and what she would like. So again, that's why the price point is important now. And those rules and parameters are for my segment. You may talk to someone else on the Today Show who has, it's a whole different set of parameters. They make each segment very specific for what that, guest is all about. So that would be my first take. And I usually want to see a low res image, a short little paragraph, a link, and of course, the price is super important. So that's for the Today Show. But I do a lot of local stations around the country, and the rules are a lot looser for that. And that's something else we can talk about as well. But I think Catherine will agree, you really have to study your local media, whether it be your newspaper, your local magazines, your local, your NBC, ABC, CBS, Fox, CW of your neighborhood, and then really watch it. Say, oh, you know what? That show has local guests on, and I could see them doing an entrepreneur. I could see them showing my product. I need to reach out to the assignment desk at the CBS station, or, I worked in news for 10 years. And trust me, getting on news, committing a crime is one way, but not committing a crime, you can also get on news very easily. So it isn't that hard. And these are just people who are looking for local states, who are looking for local stories. So if you pursue them, they'll get you on TV. So it's really the best way. You don't have to spend a lot of money on a PR agency. I mean, I'm not saying that that's wrong, and they can be very helpful, but certainly to get your niche, you should start doing it. Then once you have that article, that segment, you can use that to get more media in different markets, but you really should start at home first.
I'm going to add on to that, Steve. Such great points on so many levels. So, you mentioned the stories. So, an inventor. So the way I would tell stories at Home Depot, and I do it as well. Mine are more seasonal and trending. So, for example, I just wrapped a story that was fall home preparations. My niche is home. Then now I'm going to go into holiday gift ideas. So think about your product. What category does it fit in? Is it an outdoor living product? Is it a gadget like for Steve? Is it think about the trends, think about the seasonalities, because it's New Year's, they want to get organized. It's spring, you want to think about spring cleaning. It's outdoor living in May. Summer, people kind of want to be outside. As we know, spring and summer are home improvements really booming times, although since COVID, kind of all year round is kind of home improvement, but I think it's kind of going back to that norm. So if you realize that maybe your product might not live alone, there's two ways to pitch it. So for a segment like Steve's or segments like I do, there's a lot of people that do them out there. Just make sure that you watch those people as well, but to ensure they have credibility, because like Steve said, some people are great and there's a lot of people out there, but there are people that are paid that kind of feel So you just kind of want to make sure you're vibing with them. You want them to represent your product. Once you decide that, there are some people that do the seasonal stuff. They require a payment, and the reason they require a payment is because it's for their time, their airtime. But you can live inside one of those stories, because your product, say it might be, let's just use the Scrub Daddy, for example. The Scrub Daddy isn't going to live in a spring cleaning segment on its own. The Scrub Daddy needs to be with the vacuum. It needs to be with the cleaning fluid. It needs to be with how to clean the shade, the blinds, all that stuff. So that's what those local news stations Steve's talking about, that's what they want. They want a prepackaged story that they can run on air. They don't pay anything for it, by the way. They just run their airtime. So having that story. And then one other thing too is Steve mentioned low res images for his pitch. However, if you want to go and pitch these to not only TV stations, but like Steve said, maybe your local newspaper, the Dallas Morning News, sometimes they do product roundups. Maybe you even want to pitch yourself, which is a whole nother thing. And we can get to that in a minute. We're just talking about the products, but you want to pitch your product to, hey, Today's Show, please include me on your give it away segment. You actually need high resolution images. So I would take some time, to Steve's point, and invest in, even if it's your uncle, your mother, your brother, you on a high resolution iPhone. They like photos horizontally. They don't do the Instagram way. You need 3 or 4 solid product shots if you can get the product in action. So again, say it's Scrub Daddy, it's, you know, you at the sink, kind of cleaning, you know, fake like this, but like with the product noticeably, as well as some B-roll. B-roll's what they call that video that they roll while they're showing the product on air. And B-roll is critical to telling a product story. I highly recommend having a few good images and some good B-roll, because I also pitch products to BuzzFeed, Mashable, Business Insider, all the local papers online, you know, Good Housekeeping, This Old House, et cetera, et cetera. Oftentimes when I pitch just a blurb, 2 sentences, very short, live link, like Steve said, with the price, with an image, they don't even reply, they just run it, because there's a lack of high resolution quality things for them to run. So it looks like you want to say something, Steve.
And well, to Catherine's point, exactly. I agree with 100% of everything she said. It's great if you do a little clip. And again, like she said, shoot it this way, not this way.
Yes.
A short clip, 20, 30 seconds. And then don't send the video. Put it on YouTube, put it on Vimeo, and send a link to the video. They'll, if they want, they can click on it and show the product doing its thing. You don't have to show yourself smiling and doing it unless you're pitching yourself as part of it, but just show the product. And when you do your pictures, for example, if you're doing a product like this, kind of a neat looking product, but a picture like this doesn't tell you anything. If this is a pizza cutter, which it happens to be, let's show it cutting pizza. Give me the image so that with a second and a half, I can look at that email, go, oh, that's what that is, and either like it or not like it. And that's true of, you know, everybody doesn't have enough time, myself included, but certainly local stations, assignment desk people, the people who are hosting the talk shows mid-morning, they all have, they get, you know, 500-600 emails sometimes a day. You want something that right away explains, this is a pizza cutter, this is the first one like this, and explain why it's first, why it's great. And if it's a local station and it's about you a little bit, then say, you know, I'm a veteran, I'm a school teacher, I'm a mother of 3, I'm a this, whatever it is, who you are. So it makes it a little bit more personal. I know that does help, especially in a local market. You know, I teach at blah, blah high school. That's all great stuff, included in that pitch.
And to your point, Steve, that's a great point. So oftentimes I work with inventors and I love the enthusiasm, right? Like, oh my God, my son was always late for school, so I invented this thing that would like buzz it. And then it's like, and it's an amazing story, but it's like this long and it's just like a long email. And I'm like, I'm like, oh, you had me, I'm gone after 3 sentences. I hate to say it. Get them first. 2 bullets. I know it's so hard because it's your baby, it's your product. We know this, right? But it's like me, like boiling down, talking about my kid who's in a Michael Bublé dance contest. By the way, everyone needs to vote after this. But what the heck is that? But no, boil it down and try to be very concise. Have someone else edit it for you because you're so close to it, you won't be able to strip it down. Hey, it's got 300 PSI. You can clean top windows with it. You use it over and over again. There's a sustainability factor to it. There's a value factor to it. This is unique on the market because there's never been a root quencher like this that can water directly at the plants. You know, the roots, there's so many, but boil it down and be very concise. And then send it to the right person. But I'm going to let Steve jump in because he wants to say something.
No, I was going to say, and make sure if there's a first or only, put in that, you know, hyperbole is great. It's the first ever this, or it's the only on the market that does this, or the only one under $25, or if there is some hype to it, make sure you put that right in there. And then towards the end, again, I think it should be like no longer than this. If it's like this, forget about it. That's just, no one's going to read this much. It just doesn't.
Let me tell you about Good Morning America.
Just make sure only, if you say only, it really is
it has to, it has
because
to
there
true.
is nothing worse. Like, this is the world's best. And I'm like, how do you know it's the world's best? And then you lose my credibility. So
no, but if you're the only one under $25 and make sure it's true, then that's the case. Or you're the first one that ever blah, blah, blah. That's all great.
So
if
here's
it's true,
something
not true, don't go there.
Here's something a lot of people don't know about Good Morning America, right? So when I submit products, I have 2 ways of submitting. I can go through Shark Tank. They get a commission, or I can go through right to Tori Johnson's group. They get a commission. So they tell you right up front, the first thing they want to see is a video. They want to know that you have 5,000 units in inventory. they're gonna ask you to do half off and actually pay for shipping. So you got to be really careful when you give them half off, because you have to have room for shipping, or you can change your price a little bit to accommodate for free shipping. They will get, Good Morning America gets 25% commission right off the top. If you go through Shark Tank Group that works with Tori Johnson's group, they get another 10% right off the top. They want you to manage the entire account. They want you to manage all the shipping. They want you to manage all the returns, everything, and you can brand it accordingly. But no matter what, they get paid up front, right? So you got to be really careful. You got to be ready for that as well. Like they're going to go and look now. Where are you selling these? And what do your reviews look like? If your reviews aren't good, they won't even consider you. It has to be the right segment. I mean, you guys have talked about segment being important. They're not gonna, send off it's like a tick remover in the winter, right? They're gonna do it in the spring when it's relevant. So that's really important. But you have to be ready to know that you're gonna get a lot of viewers. Could be 5,000 to 10,000 orders when you're getting that type of national exposure. But you need to be ready to ship, and you need to be ready to understand the cost structure.
Yeah, and that's a good point. That's a good point, Chris, because there is different types of media, right? So Steve's, what the heck is that? Or like when I go on GMA, I'm sorry, Steve, your Today Show, my GMA, my Inside Edition, The Doctors, I don't get paid for that. I cannot get paid for that per FCC regulations. With about half of my TV spots, I cannot get paid for that, which actually ends up looking better for you, the owner of the product and the inventor, because I'm a third-party endorsement, just happen to love your product. However, I obviously do have a paid structure, and I think a lot of people that do what I do because I can go, I'll bundle it and say, look, let's work together. I have a sliding scale personally, but I'm sure Steve has his own way. There's a lot of people out there that you can partner with. Just make sure you know what you're getting into and you know what you're getting back out of it. Because per Chris's point, if you very openly are going in that route, it's wonderful because it's fully transparent and you understand, look, I'm only making X amount of money on it, and it's completely obvious that it's paid. Me, I have to cover labels. I can't say the brand name. I have to be purely organic. However, when you're my partner, then most people will go, oh my God, I loved that drain weasel that she was talking about. And they'll go to my website and they'll find it when they want it. So it's kind of like the back alleyway in, and then there's some segments that are paid. Like I do satellite media tours. Steve, I don't think you do those, but I think you do other paid stuff.
I do satellite media tours also. I do satellite.
Okay. Oh, probably for CES. I'm doing it's so satellite media tours are great. So there is paid versions of television and there's free versions of television. Just make sure you're very aware that what you're getting with those, basically, because even though Chris, like you said, be ready to roll. I think no matter what, when you've gotten to this level where you want to get in the press, you better be ready to go regardless, because the one thing that's going to make consumers angry is, oh my God, I love that product. Click to purchase, unavailable. You've lost them. They're never coming back. So do not go to market. Do not come to this level until you're ready to sell that product and you have enough inventory to sell that product.
And I have to add to that, so what we're talking about is some segments are called editorial, and that's when there's no fee involved and it's truly just news because we want to make it news. And then there are paid opportunities, which is what Chris was talking about. My Today Show segment, for example, is completely editorial. I don't make a dime on it. It is what it is. But also you have to realize we're not there to sell your product. We're there to show viewers about your product. And I once took a marketing class and it says it takes 10 exposures to get someone to do action. So consider this one of those exposures. It could be something in the newspaper, something here. It takes all of that to get people like, oh yeah, I saw Deborah Duncan talking about that on Great Day Houston, and now I see it here. Okay, I'm going to buy it. It takes a bunch of those things for it to happen.
Steve, do you ever get any backlash? Do you get backlash, for example, if you showed a product, again, you're the innocent bystander here. You showed the product and now the person falls down delivering it. You ever hear that on the backside saying, you showed this great product, I can't get it because they can't deliver it?
Absolutely. And one time I did a product on the Today Show, which was a travel thermos of some kind, and it had a really great mechanism in it. When you put it down, you couldn't really easily knock it over. It created suction, but when you grabbed it, it released the suction, and you could pick it up to drink and put it down. So it came in a bunch of colors. So I put like 20 of them out there, all on the table, and it was a glass table, so it all kind of suctioned beautifully. And I had Kathy Lee Gifford next to me, and I said, the great thing is, it's designed so you can't really knock it over. She said, you can't knock it over. And she took her
She
hand.
knocked it over. I saw that episode.
Back and forth. They flew everywhere. I could feel my phone in my back pocket start to vibrate, which of course was the owner of the company who was on the ledge ready to kill himself. And I have to say that little clip has something like 7 million views right now on YouTube someplace. And I get recognized for that clip more than most things I've done. But she's a genius. The company didn't, even though the company thought it was the end of their careers and financial life, it didn't hurt their sales at all. If anything, it helped them. And I called them up and said, look, you should challenge Kathy Lee to a knockdown or something. You should you should take that bad event and try and turn it to something good. He didn't do that, but still it became so, out there that it certainly didn't hurt sales. And if anything, it helped sales. So, but the truth is when you stick your neck out, you get kissed or you can get slapped. And it can go either way, especially on an editorial segment.
That's what you call pie in the oven, made for TV magic sometimes, right? Like sometimes you notice like on TV, it's like, okay, we're going to paint this wall. And then you look with this amazing paintbrush, and then you use the paintbrush, and then you turn around and you're like, now it's done. Like, because you kind of create these moments, but that's hilarious, Steve. But there was one painting segment, and I'll get back to, I wanted to say something about the rule of 7, the marketing thing you said, where I was painting a wall and the whole table fell over. And I was like, in my head, I was like, oh, don't say a bad word. And so I just dipped down. I said, now you take a dip of this paint and you put it up here. And the anchor was like, oh my God, I was dying. I thought you were going to lose it. But you just made just a good point to remember, like whether you're on TV or whether you're pitching a Home Depot or a Lowe's or, whatever you're doing, just try to, the Zen focus. But the rule of 7. So Steve, you said the 10, but but I know marketing rule of 7. So I want to bring up this point with that. So if and when you do partner with somebody, or say you start pitching it, I work with very big brands. I work with GE, I work with Traeger, I work with Sylvania, go on Rubbermaid, and on and on and on, because they know it's having your name out there and it's repetition that you need to maintain as the stakeholder, as the key, the big guy, right? They're not looking at everything. However, smaller inventor, obviously you don't have as big as budget. So if you spend $5,000, $10,000, $15,000 on a campaign, and all of a sudden your sales are like, oh wait, I didn't get $10,000 worth back of sales. I didn't get this much back worth of sales. You have to remember that rule of 7, and it is just repetitive. You can't expect to do one segment. I mean, I do have a couple of friends and co whatever that go on Fox and Friends, and they'll go on one time and they'll see a huge spike, but then that spike drops. If you want to maintain sales and you want to get those customers, it is that marketing rule of 7. Social media, TV, public relations, you need all of it to cumulatively have that brand name. And then you never know, it's not the same as clicking. Social media is wonderful and I highly recommend it. It's not the same as placing an ad, somebody clicking and buying it. If Steve or I go on television and it's not immediate, we're influencing them. So like they'd see the drain weasel on my spot, they're not going to go to their computer and go buy it right away. But next time they're in Home Depot, they're going to go, oh, I saw that thing on TV like 4 times. I'm going to try it. Boom, they buy it. They might not buy it now. They might buy it 6 months from now. It's extremely frustrating, I know, but it's just something to keep in mind when you want to get in this game. Think about it for the long haul. Give it a little bit of time, but be repetitive. Don't just do one thing. Try to do a few different things at once. So everything's cumulatively letting people know this is the product to buy and how to buy it basically.
And the guy who told me about 10 versus 7, because he did mention the rule of 7 and then said it's 10, because in the old days, there were salespeople in stores who could take a product and show you like, hey, this is a great blah, blah, blah. Those people are gone. There are no salespeople. So now you need to have the idea of what the product is in your head. So when you're walking by the aisle and you see this thing, hanging there, you're like, oh, I know what that is. Deborah Dumpkin showed it on Great Day Houston. It's blah, blah, blah. You all of a sudden know what this thing is. So it's important that's why more exposures are now more important than they were 20 years ago, because it's really about, you yourself have to have the catalog of products in your head so that when you see it, you know what it is. So I think that's something to keep in mind. And that's all the more reason why what we're talking about here, especially editorial press, is so important, because it's just a great way to get it into the engrams of people's brains what your product is. But it's not like HSN. It's not like you show up on television, show a product, and everybody just starts buying it immediately. HSN is a little different, has a very select audience. That audience knows they're there to go shopping. And when I do HSN, for example, I see the sales racking up right in front of me. It's nothing like that when you're doing the Today Show or Great Day Houston or one of those shows.
And how about stories? I always tell like people that I work with, especially in front of a buyer. It's a little bit different, right? I'm in front of a buyer now. You're in front of networks. Like the buyer doesn't care about your story to some degree, right? You have a limited time to tell them about your story, but they really want to know. I was saying in the last segment, they want to know how they're going to make money off your product. What problem is it solving? And do they have this in the store? If they don't, how fast can they get it? How good your packaging looks? And they don't want to hear that you were driving on the road and something ran out in front of you and you drove off and you almost killed yourself and your kittens fell out the back. They're not interested. They want to know how much money they're going to make. So in your business, how does that work? How does that storytelling play out?
I mean, it needs, so that's a good point, because I did want to bring this up. So that's the different pitch, right? So for what like Steve and I do on the nationals or the TV, it's not really, nobody really cares. I hate to say it, but like I'll bring a product on and say like, oh, I love the person that invented this product because they found the need for it themselves. Like they needed their trees to grow. Boom, boom, boom. That's pretty much all you're getting. But now, however, there are different opportunities for different pitches for you specifically as an inventor. And that's a different kind of media. And that's more like a business or like a, think about your local like chamber publication or like, you know what I mean? Like the business, I'm thinking like OC Daily News. There are editorial or publications that focus on people and people stories. Forbes is a good example. And they want to know, hey, here's the guy behind, whatever, the Scrub Daddy, here's how he made it, or the ornament anchor, 2 kids invented it because they broke a bunch of ornaments on their dad's tree. So there are 2 types of media. Now, Steve mentioned pitching. So being a PR person, he mentioned agencies. I've hired many agencies over the years, and I will tell you, you're paying for hours, so if you choose an agency, I highly recommend smaller agency or even solo boutique agencies, because I run an agency, but you're looking at her, right? I have people that work for me, but I am very selective and I can't take on as much business. The bigger agencies, someone like me might pitch you, but then you're going to get someone that has like 3 years experience out of college pitching for you. So if you do want to attempt to pitch things yourself, I say once you get bigger and you have more money, hiring a PR agency or a social media agency to help you with digital content, they know what they're doing. Unless you want to take a class and become an expert, it really is an art form. However, don't overpay, because some of these agencies out there, they don't know your niche. So first I would say, find one that knows your niche, find one that knows home improvement, find one that knows gadgets, find one that knows whatever they know, look at their clients, see if they've got other things. If you do want to take it on your own, there are databases you have to pay for. So Steve mentioned pitching the assignment desk. So what that is that's a desk at every news station. There's what they call an assignment desk. And that person's job every day is to find news. So it's, hey, the dog just ran on the road and got killed. There's a carnival at the local, Boys and Girls Club. There's this, there's that. They're constantly, news stations are constantly, they're not necessarily gonna show your product. Your product's gonna be more on like a lifestyle. And then you need to find that person's name. And there's a database called Cision that you have to pay for to get that. Or, and Steve, I'll stop in 1 second, let you talk. Or like if you're searching like Business Insider or Forbes or This Old House or Popular Mechanics, say that writer's name and they just wrote like, hey, here's the top 5 best inventions of 2022 that I love. And you loved their article, their email is at the bottom of the article usually, or you can Google it. So you could just say, hey, Chris, I loved your article. Please, here's mine. Again, what Steve and I said, 2, 3 sentences max, bullet on where to buy, bullet on how much it is, the link to those high resolution images in Vimeo, or I use Dropbox. Google you can use Google. Everybody uses Google Box or whatever, but send that and say that. And then even if they don't respond, they've got it and they're going to include you next time. But that's a lot of work because you got to be out there consuming media all the time. And I mean, that's a full-time job. So
I was just to follow up. First of all, I completely agree with you. But I think it's so important for you to do some of your own PR, because no one's going to do it with the same passion and intention that you're going to do it. I mean, unless you find the perfect PR match. And I think also I agree, big agencies, you're going to get lost in those things. You want a small agency who has some success, like find out who their clients are, what kind of press they've gotten. That's all very helpful. And I think you can do so much homework. It's so easy these days because of the internet. You can research everyone's email address, or you can direct message. Like you see an anchor who's doing a product that that's fits the same niche that you think you should be doing. You're like, you know what? I like Deborah Duncan. I'm going to find her. You look for her on Instagram, follow her, direct message her. And she'll actually read it probably, because it's not like, you're doing, some huge mega star. You're doing a local star who's hungry for attention. So they're thrilled to get your direct message. And they'll actually say, hey, they may not do anything, but they hand that off to one of their assignment desk people. Say, hey, look, this viewer wrote to me. She has this amazing product. And I think it's also good if you're doing very local stuff to put in one line about, like, if you're a nurse and a mother of 3, that's a nice little something to put in there. So it's like, it makes it feel a little bit more homespun, but don't get into your whole life story. Don't just think elevator pitch, elevator pitch, elevator pitch. You got their attention for a few seconds, get it out there and move on. And also customize your pitch for who you're reaching out to. One pitch does not fit all.
License multiple products, which he never shared.
One thing I was going to say, that I watch both of you do your pitches, right? And you're just learning someone's product to start with, right? Like you said, Steve, you're not the one that invented it. You're not, you're learning it. But I tell you what, both of you guys, when I watch you, I feel like you've owned the product, which you guys do a really great job at promoting it. And again, sometimes you don't get paid, right? Like you're just doing it to be a segment on the show. But like you take the responsibility, the serious, like you want to make sure you're showing it right. It's a product that's going to see itself well on TV, and you take ownership to it. And both of you can sell anything to anybody, just whatever that's worth. I mean,
well,
I've seen
you.
Catherine in action probably a little bit more than you, Steve. I've seen her up close, but I've watched you guys both on TV. I mean, I see Steve on Today's Show. He can be part of the panel. I've seen Catherine on Good Morning America, and I thought she worked for GMA, honestly. So like the products are always in good hands with you guys, is my point. And you take a lot of ownership, and when you go and show it on television.
Well, thank you. That means a lot. It really does. I think that brings up a good point. I get pitched products, and unless I personally see using it in my lifestyle, I typically won't partner. So if and when any of you ever pitch me and I don't, or like another brand, please don't take it personally. It's just that that's how I've built my brand. I mean, small inventor products, I'm in love with the majority of them. But yeah, Chris, thank you so much for saying that. I think that having that authenticity, it kind of goes back to make sure you partner with the right people, look at who's out there, look at who's telling the stories, like I have a couple colleagues, all they do is beauty products and like kid gadgets, which I could do the kid stuff. I could kind of do the beauty stuff, but that's not really my jam. I want like the geeky home improvement light bulbs and all that stuff. Like that's just what my niche has become. And that's just what I like to do. So kind of look out there. There are a lot of people, if you start looking, you know, we can always guide you towards, I never have a problem saying like, look, I don't have a story that this fits into, but here's a colleague that's doing a couple things. So, you know, like have friends in the industry, which, you know, but like Chris said earlier, and I heard you, you know, just be obviously mindful and respectful. Hey, we're all busy people. We're all, you know, probably working parents and CEOs of our company and probably have a side hustle going on. So like, you know, just be respectful of people's times, but I'll always answer messages from people. Hey, what do you think of my product? Hey, I think it's great. I think you should do XYZ. And here's a couple suggestions, or like, oh my God, I love it. I have to talk about it. So it's either one or the other, but thank you.
You know what
Chris.
you know what I like to say? I
What?
say, don't be an asshole. And I use that really careful. Don't ask me a lot of questions or send me a lot of emails and texting, knowing that I'm good at what I do and it's my profession, and then don't listen to me.
Right. You're so right. Or I have friends, I had an inventor, root quencher, and he was like, look, like I said, I like your product. I'm just so busy right now. Da, 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 da. And I didn't do it for this, but he was like, look, okay, I want to pay like the fees, like let's go. And now I talk about other products. He's like, I want to be on like every segment. And I'm like, yeah, okay, that's great. But you know, that costs, you know, we're all trying to make a living at the end of the day. Right. But to your point, Chris, I don't bring on all paid products because then me as a influencer, as a personality, I just get branded as like, you know, the hired help and paid. And I don't. I like that authenticity. I like getting excited about things. I like showing new things. That's why we run around these trade shows together, right?
Right, absolutely. And I see Steve everywhere. Like I see Steve like on waterfalls, hanging off a cliff in Bermuda, doing like all these segments. I'm like, I mean, but that's the beauty of today's world, right? You can do this. You don't have to be in a studio sometimes to show the products. And I think that's another pretty cool element of it.
I wish I was in New York, Steve. I'd go to half these press events with you. They look really cool.
I rarely miss a press event like that. Because first of all, you never know what product you're going to see. I'm the same way. I turn down more than I take on. And it has to be something that I believe in, because nothing feels, you know, you really feel like, you know, like a cheap hoe if you're pushing something that you really think is a bad product, or is not solving a problem, or doesn't do anything, or is way overpriced. It's really, it's an awful feeling. And I don't want to have that feeling, especially at this stage in my life. So I did some of that early on. I don't want to do that anymore. So I have to really, really love the product to talk about it.
I think to Steve's point, vibe that, like, if you start looking for people, have a conversation with them, or like say, what do you think of my product? If they're like, you know, you might find somebody that's doing some of these paid TV spots, or you might get pitched for a satellite media tour and you go, oh, wow, this is a really cool tour. The markets look great. But then talk to the person. Hey, what do you think about my product? You know, and you'll get the energy from them. If they're just a hired hand, like, oh yeah, it's great. And then they're on there with 4 things that they could care less about. It reads. I could send you some examples, and I don't want to throw anyone on the bus of Chris. I'll send you a couple of like bad SMTs versus good SMTs, where they're just like sitting there and they're like, so this is the latest product from GE and it can really enhance your life. And there's like a little logo and you're just like, oh my God, don't just stop, change your job. You're obviously not having a good time.
I've seen the same ones, and they're painful to watch,
Well, it's funny, you know, the next segment at the National Hardware Show, which you guys will be at, we're going to do some panels on how to pitch your product. Like you can have the best product in the world. And I think you said that earlier. If you lose me, that's it. You lost me. I'm not even going to listen to what the product is anymore.
You know, this is the truth. Even whether I'm talking to a PR person or I'm talking to the inventor of the product or whatnot, you know, they'll send me some information. They'll give me the product, and I never go on just like that. I have to talk to someone and kind of go through it with them, because I can't tell you how often, and maybe like 90% of the time, I find, to me, what the hook in the product is, not in the press release, not in the email, but when I have the conversation, I'm like, what? Well, I didn't realize that. It does that. And all of a sudden, like, it changes the whole trajectory of what I'm saying, because, you know, there's something about that communication when I'm asking a question. Well, I don't understand, like, you know, Do you have to use it with two AA batteries? No. Oh, it's oh, you can charge it by plugging it into a USB. I didn't, all of a sudden it's like, oh, this is much cooler than I thought it was. And you only learn that from a conversation. And it's so important to know what those tidbits are so that when you're doing your elevator pitch, you put that in there. That don't bury that. You got to know what the lead is and move it up to the top. They always say don't bury the lead in television news or in any kind of news. And it's even more true when it comes to pitching your product. You've got to get that thing that excites that product way up at top, because you only have a couple of seconds. And when I'm doing it on TV, as Catherine will tell you, we've got 20 to 40 seconds sometimes to talk about a product. It's not a whole lot of time. So you really have to hit, why is this thing important, and move on to the next product. So it's critically important to know what that morsel is to share with everybody.
Well, and that's a good point, Steve. So that would be with messaging. So that's another thing. So in addition to having high resolution images and video that you download into like a third party, like a Dropbox or a Vimeo, I would also think about writing 2 to 3 very succinct bullet points about what your product is and what it does when you approach somebody. So that's for pitching, which is good. But then when you approach someone, you say like, look, here's my messaging. And I run into this a lot with big corporations. They want me to say like antimicrobial, germ fighting, blah, blah, like they want me to say these marketing buzz terms. And I just tell them, look, I'm going to say it how a normal person would say it. And that is what is going to get your audience. And the best brands, trust me. However, so it's 2 point from being an inventor. If you have a couple things that like are really important to you about your product, like, no, I need you to say that it removes germs. No, I need you to say that it's long lasting. No, I need you to say this. Make sure you have that in the top and do not budge from it. However, if you do partner with somebody like myself or Steve or Chris or Amy Jo, whatever avenue you're going on, trust the experts, because I'm going to say it how you're going to hear it. And I'm not going to talk like a marketing soundbite, because I tell some companies, they want me to say something and I'm like, I'm gone after this Culligan Aquasential reverse osmosis smart drinking water system is what Culligan wanted me to say on my last tour. And I was like, no, I'm not saying that. No one, I could say, hey, this is a really cool smart water system from Culligan called Aquasential. It's so cool. See, that's like more normal. And I still said everything they wanted me to say.
And Catherine, to your point, I was at the Super Zoo with you, right? So
Yeah.
you were going around collecting all these products. I mean, we have a pet. So I knew you were on the show the next morning. So before I went to Super Zoo, I watched you on Fox.
Yeah.
And I'm ready to buy products I didn't even know existed, because you're selling it the way you want people to see it. The average user, not like all these technical, like it's like me talking about Lean Six Sigma. I'd lose you in the first 10 seconds because nobody cares about Six Sigma. It's talk about tolerancing of products and how do you keep value and the process controls. Nobody cares unless you're actually doing that type of work. You're selling a product. I'm a consumer listening to you on television. You're selling it the way you think it should be sold.
Yeah.
I want to buy it.
I have a note for that. I agree with that. I'm sorry. I just want to jump in for a second, because you also do a great job on focusing really quickly on what the benefits of the product are, which converts that into a sale more quickly. You do an awesome job. I just wanted to compliment you on that.
Thank you.
So
Thank you. And as you know, it's a different art form than QVC and HSN, because you have to go really slow. In fact, I'll admit it, I am no good on HSN and QVC. I've been on HSN before. Please do not hire me for your HSN products, because I had to go through the training 3 times. They were like, girl, slow down. I'm like, okay, so this coffee cup is so amazing because it's double insulated and it can go, and you can, and they're like, wait, what? No. So it's like, it's a different art, whatever you want to do, but make sure you have the right person to do the right venue, because QVC and for new products is amazing, but it is hard to talk about products.
So
like
funny
that.
you say that, because when I started doing HSN, the first few times, I'm used to talking to Hoda or Deborah Duncan or something like that. And they're like, no, look at the camera. When the Today Show, you never look at the camera. So it's like, and also your speed. the order of facts, how you tell it. It's literally telling a story on HSN and on, the Today Show. It's not like that. All of that changes. So you have to like take one brain out and put another brain in to
Yeah,
do
you do.
HSN. But I
But
find
it's
that
partnering with the right people, right? The right niche, you might not, even though you want to like hit the grand slam and go, oh my God, this is my one person. They're going to do Good Morning America. They're going to do my local ABC. They're going to do HSN. They're going to do QVC. They're going to do pitching. I mean, they're going to do social media. I'm looking for that unicorn out there. We're kind of it. I mean, the PR stuff, I'm kind of it, but social media, I'm self-taught, but it's crazy. So yeah, it's finding that person and kind of going all in on that and trying it out and then trying something else, and rule of 10, as Steve says now, right?
Yeah,
I think
and
that's what I was
I think
told.
it's important to relate, right? You have to relate back to the audience as well, because if you're not a good talker or not selling well and you lose them, it's over. Like if you started that in the beginning of a segment and you lost them, it's over, right? So it's keeping them entertained, right? It's all, I mean, Shark Tank, it's entertainment first.
It is.
Well,
It is.
the Today Show does a thing where every year or two they have you in for a research meeting. So, and I think I've told you the story before, but these people may not have heard it. So you go into a room, they have some bagels and cream cheese there, and there's usually two 26-year-old women who show you this big monitor, and they take your segment, or my segment in that case, and they show it what's called real-time research. So there are like 20 people in a room that have been turning dials. The red dials are women, the blue dials are men, and you see what they're liking and not liking in your segment, second by second by second.
Wow. I want
First of all, it's a
that.
horrible,
That sounds
it's a horrible
amazing.
experience. Oh, it's amazing, but it's also horrible. So every year, what I find funny is that, when I'm doing the segment, when things go well, I'm like loving it. But, if things go badly, it's live television, and I have had a million problems happen in segments where things don't work, or even though if they worked seconds earlier during the commercial break, I tested it out, and then when I'm doing it live, it doesn't work. But when it doesn't work, the people go crazy. They love it. It's the exact opposite of what you think. Like when I'm dying inside, nothing makes a viewer happy. So it's again, it's entertainment factor. You're thinking you're there to do a really great, hitting all your marks and doing it right, which I'm always trying to do. But when it doesn't work out, that's sort of like the entertainment side of it. So
That's when
I
I love B-roll. That's when I'm like, roll the B-roll.
Oh yeah.
Hey, I love when they make me show up at 6 a.m. Like hurry up and wait, right? Good Morning America.
Oh,
It's
it's
great. They bring you in, get you all ready. You're gonna go on at 7, and then
Yeah,
it's like
it's
7:20. Yeah, we got one more thing to do. And it's like hurry up and wait. I mean, the coolest thing for me when I proposed to Brandy Good Morning America, that had been planned, right? They were texting me at 3 a.m. So I was going to be there for 5, told me what to expect, how we're going to do it. Probably won't go live, but there's a chance it might. But let's plan on it. And then I swear to God, within 2 hours, I had been talking to the producers. They said, I forget all that. Whatever I told you, forget it. You're going to go live. Just going to hand you the mic. It'll probably be right after 8 o'clock. I don't know. You're going to get like 2 minutes. There's a quote unquote, I won't use a swear word. Bring the ring and don't F it up.
Oh my God, 2 minutes is brutal.
And they're counting you down,
Three.
right? They're counting you down. So it's
I won't
like,
do anything less than 3 on my satellite media tours. My company buys. I'm like, do not buy anything less than 3 minutes, and I will not talk about more than 4 products, because you're just like, because you want to do a good job, right?
You don't want to sound like a snake oil salesman. You have to go that
Exactly.
fast, and there's no connection anymore. You're just reeling stuff off. So I feel the same way. So many products in such a short period of time is just a losing setup.
It's crazy. Well, and I know we're wrapping. I imagine you guys probably want to have people ask questions, but one quick thing too to keep in mind for pitching from a PR, putting my PR hat back on, if you want to be in the magazines. So like if you have a product that's really good for Better Homes and Garden, for This Old House, for Popular Mechanics, just keep in mind, they work like 3 to 4 months out ahead of time. So if you want something in for spring, you should start pitching it like now, like start researching it now and pitch it by the first week of November, because holidays come, they're gone, they're out, they're not back. And so that's something good to keep in mind short lead versus long lead in terms of getting press that way. I mean, you could keep consuming and seeing what you want out there. Short leads usually like 3 to 4 weeks out. But even these TV spots we do, you know, like I just pitched my producer at KTLA to do a Black Friday deals segment, November 25th. But what, you know, I pitched her October 10th. She just got back to me like yesterday and was like, okay, let's do it. So they're busy and they might not come back to you right away.
Yep.
But if you pitch the right people, and like Chris said, pitch them, read the article, find their email, maybe find them on Twitter, maybe find them on Instagram, you know, like, hey, I just wanted to share my product with you. I'm a single mom and I love this product because blah, blah, bullet, you know, just keep that in mind for.
And like you said, hurry up and wait. And then they're gonna go, we want it right now. You gotta be ready. Like you,
Oh,
might-
you
like you
gotta
said,
be
you might
ready.
have pitched
Yep.
it already to them and it's been 2, 3, maybe 6 weeks.
Yeah.
And they're like,
Don't-
we want it now.
Don't pitch it unless you can sell it. So wait. I get so many inventors that I'm like, call me in a year when you're back up and running, and whatnot. So anyway, I'll stop talking because I'm sure I don't know if you guys
Amy's
like.
got some questions.
I have a
Okay.
couple questions.
Okay.
So first of all, someone who wrote in, Donna, who's participating today, she was asking if she can pitch her product to you guys.
Sure.
I asked if it was manufactured. She says, yes, she has a website. And so if you guys are open to taking a look at it, can
Yeah,
she email you?
absolutely.
It just
Okay.
send you know, I think some person I saw in the chat wants to send me their product. No, don't send product, but happily send me a picture and a link and a web, you know, a little blurb on it. It's great. I'm at steve@stevegreenberg.tv. So I'm
Amy
easy to
Jo,
find.
why don't you send anyone that's paid for this, they're welcome to pitch me. Why don't you send an email as a follow-up, because mine's my name, Catherine Emery PR Catherine at Catherine Emery PR is mine. But why don't you just send out, and you know, like Steve said, pitch us, hey, you know what? I have something fun to do. Pitch us like you're pitching press, right? Like we
Yeah.
said, and then we can even say, hey, I liked your pitch. I do this. Like we could give you a little like nudge back, like maybe
Yeah, for
it's
sure.
not
It'd be like
Absolutely.
doubling up on the
pitch just like you're pitching press, right? And
Yeah.
then if it's good, like Donna, if I like it, my next thing, Steve, and I'm sure you're the same way. I look at it and be like, hey, I love it, but I don't have any stories because I'm like done for the year pretty much. I'm starting back in January at CES, but pitch it. And then if I like it, then I'll say, yes, I like it. Send me a sample. If it doesn't work, like you claim it to work, I genuinely won't talk about it. I won't bash it, but I'll just say like, look, you know, I didn't really work the way it was supposed to work. And I'm so sorry. I'm just brutally honest, but it's just the way I gotta be, you know what I mean? But yes,
Everybody has to be that way. And that's the reason why we're all here, is because
Yeah,
there are people who are not honest. And that's what
no,
we need to do.
exactly. Exactly. So yeah, I mean, I say send it to us, and if that's okay, Amy Jo and Chris, Chris, we were just saying, Donna wanted to pitch us, and Steve and I just said, yeah, send us a pitch like it's media, and then we'll respond. And then if we want to go from there, we'll go from there. But you're welcome to share my email out after. And I'm also Catherine Emery TV on social media. You can also see me there. And again, shameless plug, while you're there, please vote for my son.
Dancing boy. Get
Contest.
that
Wait.
dancing boy some votes.
Awesome. Love
Are we
it.
up, wait. Are we up to shameless plugs now? If so, I'm gonna do my
Absolutely. You got at least 3 or 4 minutes of shameless plugs.
Okay,
Go
here you
for
go.
it.
Here you go. There you
Well,
go.
I had that on there for last, Steve. I was going to save it
There
for
you
last. But
go.
go.
Okay, go to gadgetgameshow.com. So I'm trying to create another platform to showcase, you know, off the wall or very useful mom and pop invention products. And
Yeah.
the only way to do that is you got to create your own venue. So that's what this is. So this way we won't have the restrictions of the Today Show or anywhere else. And the way to do it is, this is a show. It's called What the Heck Is That? Go to gadgetgameshow.com. As inventors, help me help you support the show, watch it, you know, like it. I have to tell you, I've been told by you, you know, if you just like something, it doesn't really help. If you don't watch it to the end, if you don't watch all 4 minutes of the episode and then like it, that means something. If you just click like without watching it, it actually hurts the brand. So
It's a
watch
fun
the
show, too. It's a
episodes.
fun game show to watch and to be a participant.
It's
It's
so
very
much
fun.
Can
to
anybody?
learn about
send-
new products, and at the same time, I get to pitch the product too, which is fun. And at the same time, hopefully, it's a fun game show that gets you to learning about a product. So check out the Gadget Game Show. Go to gadgetgameshow.com. Click on the YouTube link.
I just put it in the
Show's
link.
called What the heck is it? So that's
Can
my
we
shameless
put-
plug.
Can we put any, oh, Chris, will you
Yeah, I
put
just
our
put in the link.
email?
Go ahead, put it what you want.
Will you
And then-
put our email address? Oh, I can type my message
Yeah,
right
you can
here.
type it in. And then
Um,
also, let's talk about how we get some votes for your little guy.
Oh, yes. So
Yes,
my
yes.
son is 10 years old and he's a finalist in the Michael Bublé dance contest. Yes, he's 10 and he likes Michael Bublé. So if you go to
He
my
sang a song on stage with Michael.
twice, Bublé's pulled him on stage twice. So he's on
That's
my Instagram.
awesome.
He's on my Instagram page. He's adorable. I called him Mini Bublé. So if you can, it's a pain in the butt
He
though. You
got it,
gotta-
but just don't hold the dance
register.
moves against him. He got those from Catherine.
Oh, Renee, I love Michael Bublé too. You gotta
do.
go check him out. If you do that, so I put my email in there and then all my socials are Catherine Emery TV. So, and something to bring up, and I know we're like a minute, so we'll hang up. Social media also, you'll see I have like 22,000 followers. That's self-taught since COVID, because I was like, okay, crap, if I want like people to pay attention to me. So in terms of that one, we could probably have a whole nother thing, but make sure you have a social presence as well. Post your stuff up there, use hashtags and follow hashtags, because that helps you like elevate, and go out and spend like an hour a day looking at people commenting on their stuff, liking their stuff. They'll comment and like back. That's how I have a really authentic engagement, and I've really grown my socials, but that's helped me on the TV, on the PR front, because I guarantee my GMA producer at first was like, who the hell's this girl? And then she went and goes, oh crap, she's got 20,000 followers and she's always talking about home products. She kind of knows what she's talking about. So for your brand, same thing, just pictures, what it does, try to get like in forums and stuff. But again, social media is a whole nother thing. And I'm sure you have
Yeah,
a different.
all of Steve's stuff is in the chat room. Catherine's stuff is in the chat room.
Yeah.
Go follow them. It's always entertaining. You guys are the
Awesome.
best at what you do, honestly. And I love working with you guys. Always fun at the shows. And this is gonna bleed into the National Hardware Show, January 31st, February 1 and 2. And I'm telling you, it's gonna be the best and the biggest show ever. We're gonna have
it's
so
gonna
much
be
fun.
good. We have to talk about that. I also do PR for the show, by the way.
Yeah.
Okay, there's the Bublé link. It's not spam, I promise.
We'll get on there. That sounds awesome. I can't wait to see it.
Yeah.
Oh, if he makes top 10, he gets to meet Bublé and he gets a lesson from Derek Huff on Dancing with the Stars. So
Oh my
that's
God!
super
I
cool.
want to win.
Right?
I know
Right?
what's fun
You
here.
gotta hang out with Catherine. I've seen her in action. You have to hang out with Catherine.
Everybody tells me I should get him an agent. And I'm like, excuse my language. I'm like, I don't want to F him up and get him an agent. Like, I don't want to be like,
Catherine's his agent.
You can be
Catherine's
his
his agent when
agent.
you
Yeah.
got- Catherine has her mom.
I am the crazy effing momager. I mean, look, I just pitched this panel. Like, I'm insane person. I hate myself currently, but I'll go back to normal on Monday. So it's okay.
Oh my God.
No, you're good.
I have to just add, I just love watching the sun come up on the West Coast behind Catherine. She's
Oh, right?
An hour ago, it was all black there.
I know.
Where is she? Now the sun's come up and
Oh,
look
yeah.
how beautiful. I'm like loving it. I just
We
love
had
it.
JD on this morning. It was pitch black. He was on it. It was 5:30, I think it was.
Oh, he's a good man.
Poor guy.
I had this background and I was like, oh, this is creepy. It's like, this is one of my many sets. I just hung this thing on my wall, but I was like, no, that's not good. Amy Jo, you inspired me with whatever like those windows are. I don't know if they're real or not, but I was like,
They're
damn.
not real, but
They're not
everybody
real.
asks me.
They look
Everyone
Oh, it
real.
looks real. Fake it.
It's just its backdrop. That's
I had to
it.
send her pictures of my house which has windows like that in it so she can see how much it costs to eat.
Yeah.
I was like, damn, girl, I want to be Amy Jo when I grow up. Look at that
Yeah.
backdrop. Whoa.
Hey, I'm still growing up, so I'm working on it. So
Me too. I'm like, wait, what? You called me ma'am. I'm going to kick your ass, right?
All right, you guys,
Awesome, thank
honestly,
you.
I appreciate both of you very much. You already know that. You guys are the best at what you do. I love hanging out with you guys. And I can't
Same.
wait for the show next year. Thank you so much for coming
Me
on
too.
today.
Thanks for having us.
Forward to a
And-
Thank
big
you
hug.
guys.
Catherine, big hug. It's been a while.
You too, my friend.
Take
See
care.
you at- I'll see you at CES. I need to talk to you
Absolutely.
about
I'll be-
SMT.
We should arrange a meetup at some point. So let's make that happen.
100%. I'm hosting a press event. I'll PM you or I'll hit you up offline.
I'd love it.
Whatever the kids say, I'll DM you.
All right, guys,
Bye,
take
guys.
care.
Take care.